You know, people like pets. Some people like cats and some people like dogs. Some people like snakes and I like spiders. Some people, though, like giant rats. Welcome to Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal, and the hidden. The mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your host, Miss Bumblebee, and today we're looking at, we're looking kind of all over the world today because rats, right? Rats, forget about it. Rats are everywhere. They've spread to the four corners of the world and they've not slowed down. And we're going to talk about it today. So, rats giant rats as a cryptid's not a new concept by any stretch of the imagination, right? So here we are. All right, we're going to read, this is Carl Schucker's blog. I've talked about Carl before. He's a cryptozoologist, one of the more scientifically minded cryptozoologists out there. He's the reason why I put that video on there too, that raptor video, because he did the Owen Grady or whatever from Jurassic World thing. All right, so Sherlock Holmes had this literary device included in various narratives, right? Or Sir Arthur Conan Doyle liked to sprinkle in some overarching mythos around his character, right? And one of the mythos that really bloomed and blossomed was what was called the giant rat of Sumatra, which was referenced in a few books by Doyle himself. But we're going to go through and just look at this real quick. Just give this a quick read through, and then we'll break some stuff down. Now this is October 2013, so this is an older article, and there's been some updates regarding some of this stuff. So I'm excited to bring that to you too. So stick with me. Yeah, help transpositions meet 200 subs out there, Cryptic Corner audience. There's a link in the description. Rats are pretty decent people overall, Ember says. Rats, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how smart rats are, how intelligent, how their intelligence can be used by humans, how good they can, I'm getting ahead of myself, but they use in the medical field for more than just testing. So, yeah. Matilda was not the name of a young woman, Watson, said Holmes in a reminiscent voice. It was a ship which is associated with the giant rats of Sumatra, a story for which the world is not yet prepared. That was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in The Adventures of the Sussex Vampire from the casebook of Sherlock Holmes in 1927. Contrary to the assumption by many aficionados of the Sherlock Holmes stories that it was a wholly fictional, there really is a giant rat of Sumatra. So there's a lot of giant rats and rat-like rodents and other things on a lot of Pacific islands because those islands provide a unique habitat where something we call island giantism takes place. There's a more appropriate name for it, but it's escaping me, so I'm looking it up. Island giantism. Foster's rule. Yes, Foster's rule is what we're talking about. So, when rodents specifically in this matter, but birds too for the most part, get isolated in an ecosystem, and it can be an island. It can be a freaking caldera from a volcano. It can be a mountain. It can be an oasis in the middle of a desert. Whatever. When rodents get isolated into a pocket of the world for a few tens of thousands of years, they tend to increase in size substantially enough that when we look at the record, it's just a blink and they're just huge all of a sudden. This has a reverse effect on big animals like ungulates, elephants, and bovids, and rhinos, and stuff like that. They get smaller on islands. Hippos, I almost forgot, hippos get smaller in isolation and on islands as well. When I say in isolation, that's a good example of one that's not on an island, because the pygmy hippos aren't in an island. They live in isolated patches of jungle, so that's why they're small. Capybaras are the biggest rodents that we have around today, but they're not an island. That's not island giantism. That's cavimorphs being the freaking the best rodents, in my opinion. I love cavimorphs. That's why I have the video on capybaras, and that's going to be coming out soon too. I better plug that while I'm talking about it. Where's the cavimorph video? The cavimorph video is on the 26th is when that's coming out. So yeah, I love cavies, which includes nutrias, hudias, it includes maras, American porcupines, capybaras, of course. There's so many things that are included in this. I can't even think of all the different cavies right now. But they used to be they're pretty much dedicated to South America, which was an island for a time. So I guess you could evoke island giantism, because South America had the biggest rodents ever, right? South America had huge rodents when it was an isolated island. Let me see, what's the name of the rodent we're looking at? There you go. All right, yeah, because I know its name's really out there. It's Joseph Artegazia monesi species. Yeah, let me pull this up and I'll show you guys what it looked like, because you'll be familiar with the form. You'll be familiar with the form. It's basically, yeah, built and structured like a huge capybara with maybe a little bit of shorter legs. Pacarana, that's the one I couldn't think of, that are freaking adorable. Love Pacarana. They're so cute with their little spots. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm supposed to be talking about giant rats, though. So yeah, the South Pacific, full of giant rats, and giant rat-like things, giant rat-like marsupials, possums, in different parts of the different regions of that part of the world. So, I mean, you look at this map, right? So this is Sumatra, right over here. Orangutans, tigers, rhinoceroses, right? Sumatra, very, very jungly. And we also have Borneo over here. And then Papua New Guinea, which also has giant rats. So there's a lot of creatures to be a lot of little islands and isolations for things to grow. We have and this is a place where like the Komodo Islands are, or the Komodo Island. Where is it? Is it up in here? I think it's actually further this way. But yeah, the Christmas Islands, where all the freaking red crabs go crazy. All that stuff is in this little neck of the woods, right? Where there's all these different little islands. Giant coconut crabs live on these islands. There's just a lot of island giantism. These are Flores, which had giant rats, and hobbit people, and tiny elephants, and giant Komodo dragons. It was an amazing. Let me see. So, and it's right here in this little neck of the woods. No, not Flores. No. That's the wrong side of the globe. I'm not wasting my time. But there you go. Flores. There's the volcano. And all these islands are very volcanic, too. That's another thing they have in common here. So you'll have islands, and that's the sad thing, is that when we see island giantism and island dwarfism on islands that we have, on new islands that are less than 100,000 years old, volcanic islands. This region has been volcanic islands for the better part of 2 billion years, though. Where these two plates meet, it's been volcanic forever, well before the dinosaurs. Anyway, to think of all the throughout history, through the whole Paleozoic, through the whole Mesozoic, through the majority of the Cenozoic, there were islands popping up around here, just like this, big islands and island chains from Zealandia in the south, all the way up to Japan in the north. All along here, in this area of the Pacific, there were islands popping up and disappearing and being subducted. And on those islands that were up above the water for hundreds of thousands of years sometimes, animals, different species of freaking Paleozoic synapsids, dinosaurs, pterosaurs, we get isolated on these islands and be subject to Foster's rule in some degree, to where it changed their anatomy and the way that they moved. We don't even know what species were subjected to this on these islands. We know some islands, we don't, because they disappear into the sea, their fossils are lost forever, and we never know about them. And we'll never ever get them back. We'll never ever get to know about them. And this has happened thousands of times over, again, like I said, almost 2 billion years. So it's really sad to think about. But because look what we're talking about today, just giant rats, just one clade dominating islands like this and going through so much changes, sometimes just in a few thousand years. So yeah, let's get back to, all right, where was I? Contrary to the giant rat, yet despite having been scientifically described as long ago as 1888, an eminent mammalologist, Oldfield Thomas of London's Natural History Museum, until as recently as 1980, it had remained largely a mystery even to zoologists. In 1983, that's the year you got me, that's the year Miss Brie was born. Woo, woo. In 1983, however, following an in-depth study, this mighty 2-foot-long rodent, Dr. Guy G. Musser, curator of the mammals at the American Museum of Natural History, and museum research student Cameron Newcomb, attempted to disperse the long-standing veil of obscurity surrounding it by publishing its very first full scientific description. Their paper appeared in the museum bulletin. The real giant rat of Sumatra. That is Sundameus infraluteus, a very large mountain forest dwelling species with dense, woolly, dark brown fur characterized by extremely lengthy guard hair. Sometimes these rats are called woolly rats in this group. That's a common name for them, is woolly rats, because they have sort of long, silvery external hairs. Because and I believe it's because the place they live in is very damp. They live in cloud forest. Where was I? After a meticulous in powerful jaws, the Sumatran giant rat had traditionally been categorized as a typical Rattus rat, which is Rattus is the family that, or the genus that rats go into, right? Everything you think of as a like a true rat, brown rats, Norwegian rats, and black rats, all in this clade, right? Rattus, and they thought this guy was one of them. After a meticulous investigation of its anatomy, however, one that surely would have met with Holmes's own approval, Musser and Newcomb recognized that its aerial, nasal, and dental characteristics fully justified separation of this legendary form of the Rattus horde. As a result, they officially rehoused it in a new genus, Sundameus, along with 2 other Asian species. They'll call them woolly rats, cloud rats, some different names for them. The Sumatran giant rat is now known formally as Sundameus infraluteus, and is not deemed to be endangered, being recorded not only from sizable areas of Sumatra, but also from both Malaysia, Indonesia, Borneo. That's kind of formatted weird, but okay. Its 2 congeners are Bartle's rat, which is S. maxi, and Mueller's giant Sunda rat, S. muelleri. Now, formally described in 1931 as a valid species, but later classified merely as a subspecies of Sumatran giant rat until reevaluated to the rank of species in its own right by Musser and Newcomb. In their 1983 paper, Bartle's rat remains scarcely known even today. It is represented by only 21 specimens collected between 1932 and 1935 from 2 locations in Java by Max Bartels Jr. and is recognized or categorized as endangered by the IUCN. That's the Mueller's rat. So these are all pretty big. As for the Mueller's giant Sunda rat, originally described in 1879, this species has the widest distribution of the Sundamias trio, being recorded from Indonesia, including Borneo's Indonesian region and Sumatra, but not Java, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, and Thailand. It is not deemed to be endangered. It is primarily terrestrial lowland species. As a long-standing Sherlock Holmes fan, I am aware that although the giant rats of Sumatra's case was never documented by Dr. Watson within the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle canon, that's funny, Arthur Conan Doyle, I said Arthur Conan Doyle, because Conan was right there, Conan and Conan, so close to each other, and you tied me up. You tied me up, Mr. Shoker. Of Sherlock Holmes fiction, it has inspired several passages penned by other authors, yielding an extremely diverse range of identities for it. Richard L. Boyer's Giant Rat of Sumatra novel. These include such memorable candidates as as a tapir in the Richard L. Boyer novel, Giant Rats of Sumatra, a monstrous mega rat called Herat, who rules a nation of subhumans in Alan Vanneman's novel, Sherlock Holmes and the Giant Rats of Sumatra in 2003, not to be confused with the entirely different but identically titled novel by Paul D. Gilbert, published in 2010, and perhaps most bizarrely of all, the preternatural maritime horror in a story penned by none other than H.P. Lovecraft. The Mega Murid also appears in a novel featuring what must be the most extraordinary literary pairing ever, Sherlock Holmes and Count Dracula. These two iconic, if diametrically dissimilar figures, reluctantly joined forces to confront a nefarious plot to destroy London using plague-bearing rats and Fred Saberhagen's The Holmes Dracula Files in 1979, with the giant rat of Sumatra being the principal vector. The rangy rodent has even left its mark in the theater, with a number of plays having featured it over the years. Notably, among these are the Fossick Valley Fumblers Theater Group production, Sherlock Holmes and the Giant Rat of Sumatra, written by Bob Bishop and debuting at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in August 1995, and an entirely separate but identically titled comedy musical with music and lyrics by Jack Sharkey and book by Tim Kelly, which was first performed on the 31st of December in 1986 by the magnificent Moorpark Melodrama and Vaudeville Theater, Moorpark, California, USA. Fossil Valley Fumblers. A lot of play information here. A lot of playbills for this. Moreover, Wikipedia has an entire Giant Rats of Sumatra page. Yeah, we can click there if you want to, but I'd rather watch some videos from here, containing a very lengthy listing of literary works, plus some music and TV productions inspired by this evocative furry entity, as can readily be seen in the screenshot below this listing. All in all, pretty impressive modern-day CV for a quasi-cryptid originally only mentioned very briefly in passing by a fictional detective almost a century ago. So that was Shucker's write-up on it. But let's look. Why is this still up here? Let's look. So, let's talk about rodents of unusual size.
What about the RUSs?
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
Oh.
This guy just found the world's biggest rat in a New York City
Good.
corner store, and it literally looks like it could be someone's dog. As he was walking to the back of the store, he saw this massive rat and started to film it as he ran away, terrifying everybody in the store, and he kept following it outside because he simply couldn't believe his eyes. But that's not—
Now, lately there's been a slew of giant New York rats coming through my feed. This one popped up in my Twitter feed, actually. It really was an inspiration to go ahead and get this one out of the barrel. So, yeah, this video specifically, this isn't. I mean, look at it; it's huge.
not even as crazy as when this New York rat ran
Holy
through
moly!
a lobby of people waiting and had them all running for their life. So if you don't subscribe, this rat will show up.
So, just to be clear, these are not rats. They're not ratus. You can call them rats. Sometimes they're called swamp rats. These are a nutria. Nutria are huge, and they're very rat-like. They are very rat-like, and they have the scaled tail. But there's also a beaver-like quality to them, especially their big old webbed feet. And we're gonna. This is not the last time we're gonna see this animal specifically listed as a rat. So here's another one. Rat in New York City. It's like, oh, rat in New York Cities are huge. And that's not a New York City rat. That's a... What do you all think? I think that could be a nutria. I'm kind of leaning towards muskrat on this one, though. I don't think this is in New York. It's in a city for sure. And it has a muskrat, just because its tail looks fluffy to me. And muskrats have fluffy tails. Let me see. I realized I had a whole bunch of stuff on nutria, but nothing on muskrats. Now the muskrat has a scaly tail too. It's just not flattened like a beaver. Muskrats almost look like tiny beavers, right? Like when you think of what a muskrat is and what it looks like, they're like this, right? They're like little tiny beavers, except for they don't have the flattened tail, but they do have big webbed feet. But they're also not quite as big as this.
I am very sorry. I am very sorry.
Can we go in now?
Oh, no, we cannot.
Why not?
There's
Look at that.
a big rat inside.
You know what I think?
Now that is also a nutria. Let's get back to this list, though. I made this nice little playlist. I was watching the doll episode of CrypticCorner last night. By the way, which did great. I had a lot of viewers on that. Thank you so much for turning up for that. And I had set up that episode like this with a nice little playlist on the side instead of having tabs. And it works all right, but I gotta be careful when they're really short because it'll pop through them real quick. Let me read Ember's story real quick here. When my youngest was 5-ish, she told me Mickey Mouse was in her closet. A possum had gotten in through the heating vent. Yeah, my mom had a similar story about when we lived in a trailer, right? When I was a little kid. Too little to remember it, but my mom says she opened up the plumbing that come up through under the sink. She opened up the cabinets, and where the pipe had come in, a possum had squeezed in through next to it and gotten up in there, and surprised her with its big possum teeth. And my mom has a what is it musophobia, murophobia, the fear of mice. She has that bad, right? So she thought it was a big rat and freaked out. Anyways, same kind of situation, but it was with my mom. And I don't think she fainted, though. He is a beefy boy. Here's another one. Pretty sure this one's a nutria. Now, nutria are wrecking habitats in Texas, Florida, and California because they're not from here. They're cavimorphs from South America and the Caribbean. They don't have any natural predators up here, unfortunately. People do eat them. Look how big he is. That's a big old boy. If that was really a rat, people would be freaking out. But you can tell by the shape of its face it's not a rat. It's cavimorph. Got that beaver face. Beaver-faced! You beaver-faced cavimorph. They also have orange teeth. That's another way to tell them from regular rats. Right? Regular rats usually don't have big old orange teeth. But he's a big old boy. Look at him. I kind of want to pet him though. He's kind of cute. Isn't he cute in a way? I know the scaly tail's probably icky, but to a lot of people, not to me. I would be like, cool. It's like a snake, a mammal with scales. So cool. That's what I would be like. But for him, it's perfect for the things he needs it for. It helps him balance. It helps him swim. And these are very, very aquatic animals. Assuming he's looking for food, probably. I can't imagine there's not a body of water close by that this guy's crawled out of. Oh, the car scared him. Now, this is not a nutria. It's not a muskrat. This is a real rat. A real rat. Presumably in New York. I'm not going to challenge that this is in New York. It's very, very possible. But this one's pretty big. Might be the biggest brown rat I've ever seen.
Statue of Liberty, long live the World Trade, long live the King, yo. I'm from the Empire State. That's
now, of course, this cat isn't full grown. This is like a kitten. This is butter sized. Yeah, nutria are also in Louisiana. Yeah, Florida, California, Texas, Louisiana, probably Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama too. I can't imagine that they skipped over those on their way between Louisiana and Florida. But yeah, I bet they're all over the South at this point. I haven't looked into their numbers in other states, but I knew California had issued a removal. Yeah, is it?
Statue of Liberty, long live the World Trade, long live the King, yo.
Cat says, "Get out of here." A kitten. I don't know. Is that butter? That's the size of Butterbean, right? I call him Butterbean. You get little toe beans. Her. I keep saying him because I had a yellow cat that was named Lucky, but it was a he, and I'd always been that it's really cool that you have a female because they're still rare. To have a female yellow cat. Yeah, that cat says, "Fuck this giant rat."
On the subway when his little rat friend decided to come up and give him a kiss goodnight.
That's a big old rat too. See, big rats, they're not any, even the biggest brown rat's not going to be anything compared to a nutria, right? Not at all. Not at all. It's up on his back, watch. Dude was pretty chill about having a freaking rat crawl up on him.
What the? It's over to our building. What the heck?
What do we got here?
Controller has told ITV News that he's caught rats.
This is in London.
Cats on an estate.
This is in London. This guy's yeah, Norwegian rats are huge. They get like that one that we just saw with the cat. That one was every bit of 12 to 15 inches or something along those lines from the looks of it. We don't know how old the kitten was, but just based on what I saw there. But this guy's definitely
In South London,
found some nutria.
you might want to turn away. Dean Bird took
Yeah.
photograph of the animals he claims he caught near Tooting High Street, though he wouldn't confirm the exact location due to client confidentiality.
Now those are nutria, you can tell, because I can see orange teeth right here on this one. I think he mentions it too.
I decided to set some big rat traps to see what we would catch and what was really going on. And I was quite shocked when I actually discovered what I discovered. And basically they weren't actually trapped in a trap, they were actually stuck in the trap where they were too big. So that's kind of how I come across them. They were a lot bigger than a standard rat. And they had huge teeth on them as well.
Yeah, here's another, you get an idea how big nutria are. Look at those webbed feet. Look at those webbed feet right there. Look at those webbed feet. Look at that monster. It's huge. Such a cool animal. But people keep these as pets sometimes. But they're really invasive. And they're illegal in a lot of states. Yeah, common rat, brown rat, Norwegian rat, Norway rat, all the same species. They are, they get pretty damn big, and in isolated environments, if they've been isolated on like an island for a couple 100 years, they're probably going to be bigger still. I don't know if they're going to reach nutria size, but I could see a good size. Well, we're gonna talk about another big giant rat here in a minute. So, look at this. Massive. Now this one. Anybody else here in North America? Anybody else here in North America want to identify this animal for me? First one to identify it in the side chat gets a I don't know, a love bug kiss. Anybody want to identify this animal? Come on. Look at that. You know them, you love them. What are they? Does it move across again, or is that just it? It's a full minute video for the first 6 seconds being the animal. Come on. What is it? John Fabiano wins! Beat Ember by seconds. Jefferson by seconds. You guys. Yes, that is a possum, not a giant rat. Not a giant rat caught on security camera. This is just a possum crossing someone's sidewalk. If you live in North America, you know what this is. Native atheists, no, it's not a raccoon. A rat would have been loved if they had big fluffy tails. That's the thing too. Dormice have big fluffy tails though. People still don't give them much love. There's rats with furry tails though. Well, depending on what you consider a rat, because rat's a common name. If you're talking about just the genus Rattus, Clint's Reptiles did a whole video on the clade. It's got a beaver as the icon, so you gotta watch that. It's really good on evolutionary biology. Let's see what do we got next. Oh, another one. Anybody know what this animal is? Second chance. All right. Oh, hold on. I gotta give John Fabiano. John. You got it. Mwah! That's for you, John. Now, what is this animal, guys? What is this animal? I'll give you a hint. It's the same animal as the last one. Yet another possum. People, possums are not giant rats. My mom thought a possum was a giant rat in our trailer. I was going to tell that story at this point in the video, but I told it earlier because Ember told the Mickey Mouse story and I wanted to participate in the reminiscing. But this is definitely a possum. Alright, what do we got next? That looks like a possum. I'm saying this one's a possum too. So we got nutrias and possums that are getting called giant rats. Possums are pretty docile, though, all things considered. They hiss and show you their teeth. They don't actually do anything. You could pick them up, and they won't do anything to you. They're so docile. Sure tastes like giant rats, says John Hudson. Oh, well, I mean, you eat what you want to eat. I'm not here to shame anybody about their culinary preferences. I eat bugs. Yep, just another possum. Oh, yeah, this is,
Intriguing tale dates back to the 19th century, when sailors reported sightings of an enormous rodent on the Indonesian island of Sumatra.
It wasn't just on Sumatra.
Mentioned by Arthur Conan Doyle in a Sherlock Holmes story, the giant rat of Sumatra had been referenced in historical accounts and sailor logs, creating a buzz of curiosity and speculation. Witnesses described the creature as much larger than any known rat species, with some reports suggesting it reached the size of a small dog.
That's true. Those are true things, though, because we did find them. They're real. We're going to discuss that, too.
Despite numerous expeditions and studies, solid evidence remains elusive, leading to
No, it doesn't.
myth and reality surrounding
It doesn't remain elusive. It's fine. We're good. We know these.
whether a case of misidentification.
Yeah, public service announcement. Don't just go pick up wild possums. Absolutely not. Yeah, it's a possum. That was a possum. Possums have big mousy ears sometimes too. Different phenotypes.
For an undiscovered species, the giant rat of Sumatra continues to captivate imaginations, standing as a testament to the mysteries that still lurk in our world.
I meant to have this earlier in the video when we were talking about the giant rat of Sumatra. Alright, now this one, here we go. This one's when I have to freaking slow down. Alright, I'm going to slow it down to half speed. I'm going to mute it because it's in a different language, but I couldn't find any other report on this story other than this one. So this is what we're getting. I'm going to read it, okay? These animals are seen as dirty and disease carriers and are usually driven away or exterminated so they don't contaminate our clean surroundings. But this rat is in a class of its own. A few years ago, news spread of a rat that ate a human baby. The giant rat, practically the size of a cat, ate 2 babies in different locations in South Africa. Weird that they showed white babies, though. Well, I guess it is South Africa. Ate 2 babies in different... Yeah, okay. One of the victims was a 3-month-old girl named Lunathi Dwadwa. She was attacked and killed by this rodent while sleeping in her crib. She was attacked, yeah, and there's a, we're going to talk about this rodent in a second. In the Kailicha district, a slum outside of Cape Town. The situation was even more grim in that her eyebrows and cheeks had been eaten. Pretty grim indeed. And one of her eyeballs had been pulled out. So terrible. That's terrifying, yeah. I don't know, I'm having a hard time parsing that. Local police arrested the baby's mother on murder charges and child neglect. Local police arrested, yeah, okay, so the mother did get, if you let your kid get eaten by a rat, I guess you kind of deserve it. It's suspected that the mother left the house to go out with friends, leaving the baby at home. It's a little too slow. Let me speed it up just a bit, because... However, the timeline of events is not clear. The Daily Mail media posted the event occurred in 2011, while other media outlets, The Sun, The Metro, and 9 News published it as 2016. But what kind of rat could have eaten this poor baby? On a Reddit forum about this topic, a Redditor named Morlock said the attack was supposedly a giant pouched rat from South Africa, which is a different species to the one we usually come across in houses. According to the ADW, the species of rat can grow to the lengths of 25.39 to 35.83 inches, so huge rat, and weigh 2.2 to 3.24 pounds. Whoa, so it's really giant, like its name suggests. Yes, it's huge. It's not the only story of rat attacks on humans, though. In 2017, in Arkansas, in the United States, a 15-day-old baby was bitten about 100 times by a rat, requiring reconstructive surgery due to injuries on its head. Poor little baby, yeah. It's unknown for sure what species of rat bit the baby, but according to WKBN, the baby's parents, named Charles and Erica Shryock, knew the house had a rat infestation but did nothing about it. Because of that, they were arrested by the police and charged with child endangerment. Whoa, yeah, that's bad parenting for sure. You let your kid get eaten by a rat, but now if you're wondering about this and freaked out if a rat can attack a human, we have the answer for you. Sometimes rats can attack humans, guys, but these cases are very rare. This animal is nocturnal and normally tries to avoid contact with humans. But there are a few situations that can lead to a rat attack. Firstly, if you have a wild rat as a pet. That sounds like a bad idea anyway, doesn't it? Secondly, if you corner it, they'll defend themselves just like any other animal. Rats also have an attack instinct if they feel cornered. Thirdly, if you try to capture it, rats will probably try to bite you. That's how the rat does. I don't know if it was made by AI or not. It's the actual language it's in is. The actual language is this. Turns out rats have other instincts that might give you chills. That's not a rat, that's a nutria. Such as the fact that rats are cannibals. Yeah. I mean, anybody who's ever bred rats or had to, especially if you're breeding them for feeders, knows that about rats. You gotta isolate the mother with their babies. Now, are you gonna show us some footage or just... Yeah, anyway, so... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So... Giant rats, large species of rodents in general can be dangerous to humans, especially babies and infants. But that's the same for pretty much any animal that's predatory. Even ants, if left to their own devices, will eat a baby. If it's not taken, if it's in their way, they will form their little pillar, driver ants, and wrap around the baby and consume it. Feed the colony with it, just like it would with any other baby animal it found unprotected. And rodents will do the same. Rodents are notorious. Oh, here we go. This is the giant pouched rat right here. Check it out. Look how big this boy is. Gracious. They call him an Akota over there. Look at his big mousy face. He's kind of cute though, like their Dumbo-y floppy ears. This is the species that was used for Big Ben in Willard. If you've ever seen Willard, it's the newer one, not the original. I think the original was just a black rat, but this is the species they used for Ben in that movie, and he was absolutely massive, but you could tell by his big floppy ears. And I mean, Dumbo rats have big floppy ears too, but pouched rats have there's a certain look to them. I don't know how else to explain it. And they're not called pouched rats because they have a pouch like a marsupial. They're called pouched rats. The Buy Me Bugs link gives a 404 error. What? Ah. Here, I'll fix it. We'll fix it. Don't worry. Don't give up on me, GeoSam. There you go. Yeah. Look at that snoot. And they're called because they have big pouchy cheeks. But yeah, this is the species that's alleged to have attacked the kids. But every channel I could find that talks about these talks about how great pets they are, what great pets they make. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Back when a photo went viral depicting a Brooklyn man who had speared something resembling a small dog with the business end of a pitchfork. Well, my friends, that beast was actually a giant Gambian pouch rat. And while that particular specimen was probably just somebody's lost pet, the species is now loose and running completely wild in, wait for it,
Wait, where is it? Alright. Let's see. Oh, it already says it up there at the top. Oh, y'all can't see it. Never mind. Here. I'm gonna do a poll. There you go. You guys gotta guess where this happened at. There's three options. Three options, guys. Oh, yeah. It is good to see you, though, George. I haven't seen you in a bit, so I'm glad you're here. So we got quite a few people here watching. Delayed by gossip on the internet. Cursed gossip. You're Squirrel Willard, you think? I'd like to be like Raven Willard. That'd be cool. I think I'd have more luck with ravens than I would with rats or squirrels. It looks like people are thinking this happened in Texas. Nobody thinks Arkansas. Arkansas is pretty swampy, though. And, yeah. What do you think? We got 7 votes. 7 votes. There's 24 of y'all out there. Come on, vote, guys. Vote, vote, vote. I'm going to get my phone. Look, I got my phone. I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote for Arkansas just because no one else has voted for it. Even though no, it's not the right answer. Because you guys are smart. I just wanted to impact the poll in some way. No, it looks like Texas is winning. I'm going to go ahead and end it, though, because everybody's thinking Texas. I don't know what the poll was, but but I picked Florida because it's Florida. That was the smart choice. Florida, and actually Florida and Texas tied, but
Florida. The peaceful coral-rich sands of Grassy Key are becoming mottled with 9-pound feral rats after a breeder of the animals either released them into the wild or allowed them to escape. The species is alien to the U.S. and quite invasive if let run rampant, so there is some concern that the critters might start migrating north toward the mainland if their numbers get too robust. However, given that the southern tip of mainland Florida is currently overrun by ravenous giant pythons,
a topic for another day for sure. We need to talk about just Florida's whole
southeast probably won't see any Gambian pouch rats setting up shop on its toilet lids anytime soon.
And that's someone's pet right there, I'm sure.
What breeds in Florida stays in Florida. Can we make that a thing?
I'm kind of here for that. Yeah. I think that's the last one on this list.
You might remember a few months back when...
Yeah, that's the last one I got here. And this one, they wouldn't let me add this to the list because of a parental advisory, but yeah, the one with the guy, the big albino nutria. Look at that, it's so huge.
a big rat inside.
You know what I think?
I am very...
There we go. All right, so giant rats. They come in all shapes and sizes. And come from all corners of the world. We have, of course, the South Pacific rats during World War One, and the South African rats that we just looked at, the giant pouch rats. And we covered New York. We covered then the ones in London, which were nutria for sure, looking at the pictures of them. Now, the Mexican pet rat, that's the urban legend, right? What is that blurring in front of the screen there? Go away. I don't know what you are. There you are. All right. That, the Mexican pouched rat, or not Mexican pouch rat, the Mexican giant rat. You know, the urban legend where the family goes on a trip to Mexico. They find a cute little abandoned, weird chihuahua. They adopt it and bring it back home because they can't find the owner. One of the kids either takes it to school or gets sick, or for some reason a vet or a science teacher gets a look at it and explains to them it's not a dog but a giant Mexican rat of unknown species, sometimes called a giant Mexican sewer rat. It's an urban legend, the Mexican pet. Yeah. The Mexican pet. Now, there are some very bizarre looking dog species that are native to or find their origins in Mexico, including the Chihuahuas, of course, and then there's the Mexican hairless dogs and stuff. But generally, they'll depict as something like this. You think with a tail like that, though, no one would confuse that with a dog. Misidentifying that as a dog is kind of bizarre. But the person, sometimes though, when they show like the people when they're telling the story, they're legend, they pull up images. It'll be people with big thick glasses on and stuff. The oldest variant of the legend, long told in Europe, is called the Turkish pet, proving that no matter where in the world it may turn up, the story conveys a xenophobic message. Beware foreign lands and the strange and scary things that come with them. It's the same story as Gremlins, too, really. As a matter of fact, it's almost exactly the same story as Gremlins. So it's almost like the writers took the premise of this story and said, well, what if it was like a cute little creature? But then it turned into evil monsters, something like that. According to the Daily Mail, of course, the beacon of truth on the internet, right? These stories are becoming true in Argentina. Gullible bargain hunters at Argentina's largest bazaar are forking out hundreds of dollars for what they think are gorgeous toy poodles, only to discover that the cute pooch is what the locals call a Brazilian rat, a ferret pumped up on steroids. What? Oh, like that? There's no way you could mistake a ferret for a poodle. This has got to be a prank. One retired man from Catamarca, duped by the knockdown price of pedigree dogs, became suspicious that they had bought what Argentina's called a Brazilian rat, and when he returned home, he took the dog to the vet for their vaccinations. Imagine his surprise when his suspicions were confirmed. He had in fact purchased 2 ferrets that had been given steroids at birth to increase their size, and then had some extra grooming to make their coats resemble a fluffy toy poodle. Neither the woman or the retired man had filed a complaint. Typical toy poodles cost upwards of $1,000 in the United States, and ferrets will usually set someone back around $75. A stark contrast to the sprawling wealth of some parts of Buenos Aires, Las Saladas is a collection of small and informal work distributors and entrepreneurs, some lucky enough to sell ferrets or dogs at $150. So yeah, that's the Mexican pet. So that's part of the lore too. And then the Peel Street creature is going to have its own thing. It's not a rat at all. We have a great explanation for that. But yeah, it's going to talk about the African pouched rat. There's also the cane rat that gets really large. But what do you think about giant rats tell me, do you believe that the giant rat of Sumatra was actually based on tales from sailors visiting Sumatra or other South Pacific islands and witnessing extant giant rodent species? Do you think New York is really becoming overrun with giant mutant rats? Oh my gosh. Hold on, Jay. Jesus Christ. I don't live in like a bad neighborhood or whatever. It's the same guy. This same guy keeps walking by my house screaming and yelling at people every few days. It kind of scares me. All right, I'm probably gonna cut that part out though. But yeah, as far as giant rats go, though, I think we can close the book on things here for now. We have a few species that are actually extant. We have a few that that aren't actually rodents at all, but possums. So I think we've cooked this one, right? It's over. Giant rats are settled. No more cryptid giant rats. All right, so please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.